Creation and early humanity. Before time began, before the wind had ever blown or the oceans had ever stirred, there was only God. No stars shone, no earth turned. Only the eternal presence of the Creator filled the vast silent void. And then He spoke. "Let there be light." Light pierced through the darkness like the first breath of dawn. It was warm, pure, and full of promise. God separated the light from the darkness and called the light day and the darkness night. This was the very first day. On the second day, God stretched out the heavens like a canopy, creating the sky to hover above the waters. The sky arched wide and blue, majestic and endless. On the third day, God gathered the waters together, allowing dry ground to appear. The land rose, and God called it earth, and the gathered waters He called seas. Then He commanded the earth to produce vegetation, grasses, herbs, trees bearing fruit, each one bursting with color and life. Hills turned green, orchards bloomed, and the earth sang its first song of growth. On the fourth day, God placed the sun to rule the day and the moon to govern the night. He scattered the stars across the universe like jewels on black velvet. Each one twinkled with beauty, glowing with the light of purpose. On the fifth day, the Creator filled the oceans with life. Whales danced, fish darted, and sea creatures of every kind swam joyfully in the depths. He filled the skies with birds, some with brilliant feathers, others with mighty wings that soared on the wind. On the sixth day, God created animals to roam the earth. Lions prowled the plains, elephants trumpeted in the jungles, rabbits hopped through meadows. Every creature moved with life and wonder. But then God did something different. He knelt down, took dust from the ground, and shaped it with His own hands. He formed a man, beautiful, strong, and full of potential. Then God breathed His own breath into the man's nostrils. The man opened his eyes and became a living soul. His name was Adam. God placed Adam in a garden called Eden, a paradise of peace, rivers, trees, and fruit of every kind. In the center stood two special trees, the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God told Adam he could eat freely of any tree except the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. "For in the day you eat of it, you will surely die," He warned. God saw that Adam needed a companion, so He caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. Taking one of his ribs, God fashioned a woman and brought her to Adam. When Adam saw her, he rejoiced and said, "This is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh." He named her Eve. Together, Adam and Eve lived in perfect harmony with each other, with the animals, and with God. They walked with God in the cool of the day. They knew no shame, no fear, no sorrow. It was a perfect world, created by a perfect God. But one day, everything changed. A serpent, more cunning than any other creature, spoke to Eve while she walked through the garden. "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree?" it asked, its voice smooth and sly. Eve replied, "We may eat from all the trees except one. God said not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. If we do, we will die." The serpent hissed softly, "You will not surely die. God knows that when you eat it, your eyes will be opened. You will be like Him, knowing good and evil." Eve looked at the fruit. It was beautiful, ripe, and tempting. She reached out, took a bite, and gave some to Adam, who also ate. In that moment, everything shifted. Their eyes were opened. They saw they were naked and felt shame for the first time. They sewed fig leaves together to cover themselves. When they heard God walking in the garden, they hid among the trees. "Where are you?" God called. Not because He didn't know, but because He was giving them a chance to come forward. Adam stepped out and confessed, "I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." God asked if they had eaten from the forbidden tree. Adam blamed Eve. Eve blamed the serpent. God declared the consequences. The serpent would crawl on its belly and face enmity with humanity. Eve would face pain in childbirth. Adam would toil in the soil for his food, and worst of all, they would no longer live in Eden. Death had entered the world, but even as they left the garden, God showed mercy. He made garments for them from animal skins, a symbol of sacrifice, and He gave a promise. One day a child would be born who would crush the serpent's head and defeat evil once and for all.